world and in a rational, logical, consistent framework. So that's what any philosopher, any scientist would like to do it, and that's what we can be very proud that our ancient scientists did. So without that is enough as an introduction. So nowadays I think it's commonly understood that as a conscious being, that is valid for animal, birds, etc. also, but let's focus on the human beings. We are a composite of body, mind and soul. So this is a huge, large, gross body made of matter, where the body cells keep on changing, and there is a, of course, when a common man says body, mind and soul, I have no idea what does he mean by soul, but in Vedic concept, where there is a very specific meaning, the soul is a point-like singularity and is strictly speaking, I cannot say its characteristic is consciousness. It is consciousness itself. So, if you study Patanjali Yoga Sutra, there is a so-called Vikalpa Vritti, where there is a lot of discussion on Purushasya Chaitanyam. This is Shashti Prayo. What it is saying is Purush ki Chetana, where Purush itself is that soul, that entity. So the person is saying this is not a valid statement, because that consciousness itself is Purush, and how can you say Purush, Chetna or Purush? So there is a lot of discussion. This is it finally boils down to is they say this is Chit Roop, Chit Roop. If you are very much interested in this discussion, and that's what I was writing this morning, second principle of Arya Samaj. Why does Dayananda write Ishwar Sachidananda Swarup Nirakar Sarv Shaktiman, etc.? He could have done it Ishwar Sachidanand Nirakar Sarv Shaktiman, but he is saying something very brilliant idea. Ishwar is Sachidananda Swarup. So the term Swarup means this is its inherent characteristics. It is not that the thing is there and characteristics is different from that. So what is called a Nam Roop, that kind of description is not valid about Ishwar and Sachidananda. Anyway, these are slightly digressions we are doing. Body, mind and soul. Coming back to that. So soul is, if the example I like to give is, you can see a lamp here which is emitting light. And if you go look into it, finally there is a tiny filament that is burning due to the electricity that is passing through it, getting heated, and then it emits light. So there is a tiny filament that is heated and that is emitting light. Now, or many of you have some training in mathematics, try to take the limit that filament goes to 0, 0, absolute 0. But still it is emitting light, isn't it? So that will be something, a counterpart of what is the Vedic concept of soul, a point-like singularity. A point in geometry is a singularity in the sense it has no length and width, but it exists. A child will take a pointed pencil and mark its location 4, 5 on a coordinate system. The point exists, though it has no length and width conceptually. In that sense, that is what the soul is. But this is filament, limit going to 0, is emitting physical light. That soul, somewhere here, is emitting light of consciousness. That is so much so that I am conscious now. If that singularity leaves this, I will just fall down and collapse. So that is what is Vedic concept of soul. I don't know what the man on the street means by soul, but that is what is our philosophy. So that being at this point a singularity, body being at this extreme, a huge gross body changing every moment, while that never changes, there is nothing to change there. The question is, how are they functioning together? So connectivity is provided in series, serial connectivity by what is called mind. And so mind, that we discussed at length 2 days ago, is made of very tiny particles so that it can connect to the body, and is so tiny that it can connect to the soul. So that is a connecting domain, and again It's, in the mainstream, there people have different ideas about mind and consciousness, etc. So that I was emphasizing previously, that mind and me, a good example to say metaphor is thumb in a fist. That's what one Upanishad says. That is very, very tiny domain. That's how I entered into my father's body. So the point to notice is mind has been existing in these 6 months that I was mentioning, twice at least, like in Yat Vajnana Mucheto Dhitishya Jyoti Anta Amyaten. Mind is referred to as Amyat, undying, immortal. So generally our people are quite familiar with that soul is immortal, but even mind is immortal. That has to be understood. That's why it becomes a carrier of all my past knowledge and so on and so forth, what we call sanskar. So that is body, mind and soul, and I am that owner of body and mind, that is me. And then the whole business of life is threefold, for which I have 5 instruments each, 5 sensory organs for knowledge, 5 motor organs for action. So this, and the mind is divided into 3 units, so to say buddhi, ahankar and manas. So 5 plus 5, 10, and this 3, 13. So that is the statement in Sankhya. We have 13 instruments. Not only we, all animals, birds, and all the story is same. Okay, let's move on further here. So we are body, mind and soul. Mind is carrier of all this. And then what are we doing? Of course, gathering knowledge from our surroundings and influencing our surroundings. That is incoming knowledge and outgoing action. So knowledge and action are 2 important functions, and in so doing, be it because I am conscious, and of course knowledge and action is possible only for a conscious being. But one more thing happens, that I go through an experience that is called bhog. So once in a while I will use Sanskrit terms, jnana, bhog and karma. Knowledge, experience and action. That's what all of us and all the conscious beings, even including tiny insects, all of them, they do the same thing. How are we different from others? That is very important. That's where the present topic has all the essence, that today's topic is valid only for human beings. The mind and all these knowledge, action and bhog, that is relevant for all the species, but meditation is only human beings' privilege. Only we can sit for and only we are concerned with all these things. So how does the story begin? That is very important. Of course, bottom line for any of us is we want to enjoy life, isn't it? Who bothers much about knowledge and action? Even if we do, our final attempt is I should not have pain and suffering in my life, and if possible, I should enjoy life. So dukh and sukh, that is what is experience. So when any event is registered at the inner part of your mind, it becomes part of your experience. So 2 days back I did explain where does the knowledge terminate, chidavasano bhog, because that's what the Sankhya is saying. Means when it falls upon the chit, my chetna, then it is my bhog, and then ahankaro karta na purusha, that is his statement, the action gets initiated from the middle unit of mind. So all these things we have discussed, but today we want to be very practical. So what am I here in this world for? This is jnana, karma and bhog. Can I ever get to know the whole knowledge of the whole universe? Impossible. Nobody can ever know. And in karma there is a whole, even in knowledge there is right knowledge as well as wrong knowledge. Is it not? Like ISIS people, those in Syria, they came in news yesterday. They have the wrong knowledge. A suicide bomber has the wrong knowledge. That if I kill 30 innocent people, I will go to the heaven. Is it not? So the knowledge can be right as well as wrong. And as well as like a small child, it's absence of knowledge. Is it not? So absence of knowledge, pure ignorance. Wrong knowledge is also dushta jnana, we will say, and the right knowledge. Of course, Aishmaj always starts with सब सत्य विद्या, वेद सब सत्य विद्याओं का. We are always concerned with true knowledge, not so-called, deceptive knowledge or pseudo knowledge. So knowledge is very important, but in karma there is a very wider aspect, is it not? So in karma, of course, you can do bad karma. Actually, there are three kinds of karma. Patanjali will write as a punya and apunya. Punya karma is what is desirable. So like for example, if you walk out, say there is an accident, somebody has fallen from the motorcycle. So what is punya karma? Is to help him, take him to the hospital. That is punya karma. What is wrong? What is called pap? What is pap karma? Because he is vulnerable, I can take out his card, his phone and his money and go away. Is it not? So he is seriously injured, and I can do some selfish thing, taking because he is so weak at this point, I can take away. That is his pap. That is the pap karma. But there is another third possibility. So that is called as kartum, akartum. Kartum is the kartavya that I should do. Akartum, anyata kartum. Opposite is pap. But then there is third possibility, na kartum. I do nothing, as if accident hasn't taken place. I overlook that position. But in Patanjali's nomenclature, punya is punya. Pap as well as na kartum is also called apunya. So punya, he makes two categories, punya and apunya. Then he said, punya gives us lad, that gives happiness, sukh, and apunya gives you dukh. So there is somebody who is making a logbook of laser, what am I doing and how I should be compensated. Somebody is doing all that karma, phal, pradata, whatever you call it. Then he takes care that if you have done this much punya, there is in your balance sheet, this much sukh should be there. And if in your life you have done this much of apunya, you will be great. But karma is always difficult. You may do good karma even with bad intention, is it not? With knowledge it is not that much true. So what I am saying is that a karma